war decreasing. If we have any chance in battle against the Germans, we have to enlist more men.
How do you suggest we do that, Minister?
Perhaps we enforce a gradual conscription of all Canadian men.
A gradual conscription? I never thought we would have to force our men, but we are in desperate need of men at our battle lines.
A wise choice, Mr. Prime Minister.
Now the Unionist Cabinet, I can rely on the vote of all British subjects to enlist in the Canadian troops, the female relatives of all soldiers, and I can rely on the support of dissent liberals. Mr. Laurie will soon be without the support in this election besides his French Canadians.
Very well.
People of the Unionist Cabinet, officials, dignitaries, fellow Canadians. The upcoming election will define our fine nation's place in this world war. It is the duty of our men and women to defend the freedom, rights, and peace of all people. Unfortunately, as the enlist number has steadily declined, we are left with no other choice than to enforce the conscription as a means to benefit our nation. Mr. Laurie and the Liberals hold a concept of continued volunteer basis for our soldiers. But ladies and gentlemen, our party believes that we must act now. Your vote, Canada, will decide the fate of our nation. Thank you.
The Unionist government has won the election, Mr. Barossa. What is there left for our power?
Do not lose face, sir. I will not stand to see Mr. Borden trample over the rights of our people. Mr. Laverne, the battle is not over. We must demand equality in our nation.
You are right, Mr. Barossa. We must fight for the battle in our own country before we go off and fight the battle of the world. The conscription issue is causing a divide within our country.
Making overseas conscription compulsory would be yet another abuse of power? An abuse of power? Mr. Barossa is completely out of line. The advent of conscription would trigger a process that would soon transform what is now perhaps the most peaceful and most orderly people in Americas into a revolutionary people. Mr. Barossa is uneducated with the system. I'm appalled at the actions by the French. Jeffrey! Call a meeting with the cabinet immediately.
Yes, sir. With respect, sir,
Yes.
we must act now. I propose that we call a popular vote on the conscription, which sets aside the traditional parties.
I'm not quite following your method, Mr. Barossa.
If conscription is voted on majority, then the French Canadians will accept this motion. Action is needed before the division people, the Canadian people, is out of control.
Very well. Sir, are you not worried of the potential actions for Mr. Barossa?
Nay, his plans have gone unanswered and ignored.
With all due respect, Mr. Borden, but Mr. Barossa has been successful causing controversy and violence.
This country has gone unharmed. The war is my first priority. I need to protect our people.
Hey, a fine Prime Minister you are, Mr. Borden.
Ah, thank you.
In 1981, Borden amended the Conscription Act to exclude all exemptions. This action angered the English Canadians as well, and Canada continued to be a divided nation. In total, an approximate 125,000 men were conscripted. The war ended within a few months of the amendment.